Hey, what's up, everybody?
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Yes, we are so glad that you guys came to be a part of another episode of Let's Conversate with Josh and Sharon, where we're just real people.
Hey, dealing with real issues.
Absolutely. You guys, we are in January 2023.
That's right.
This is the month of what?
Recovery
Month. We are dealing with all things wealth in the month of January, dealing with recovery.
That's right.
Also, this is known for us as what? No spending month.
That's right.
Listen, we are cutting down on spending and we're getting things together. Sharon, what are we talking about today for the people?
Okay, so today we're talking about paying down debt.
Absolutely. So it's time to pay down this debt, everybody. Listen, the last show we talked about recovery because 2022 was one of them unusual years. Would you agree?
I agree.
And in 2022, we dealt with, just coming out of a pandemic.
That's right.
And
inflation.
Yes, coming out of pandemic, going into the inflations. And the inflation's carried on even to now. We're seeing like lower gas prices and everything. But leading up to the holidays, where most Americans do a lot of spending, right?
That's right.
Things seem like it was sky high.
Yes.
So people charged up what?
Their credit card.
Absolutely. Borrowed, loans and, got in these high interest vehicle loans and, we just kind of swimming. And we're swimming without a, without a bottom.
Okay, yeah.
You know how you get in the pool, and when you first get in the pool, you bounce around in 3 feet, 4 feet. You always feel the ground up under you. You feel good.
You get out there into the deep.
Getting that deep because you don't have a ground to bounce on no more, so you start looking for the wall. Something to hold on to.
Oh my.
Well, we want to be the wall today.
All right.
Give the people something to hold on to.
Hold on a little longer.
Hey, listen, tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
That Josh and Sharon is on.
That's right.
And we're on with another episode of Let's Conversate
with Josh and Sharon.
Absolutely. So listen, get your popcorn, get whatever you need, and sit back with us for about a good 30 minutes, half hour, and we're going to just talk about getting out of debt, right?
That's right.
What it is?
Paying down debt.
Well, let's pay it down then.
All right.
I'm serious, Sharon. We are living, we're living in a day and time now that, just things are just rough.
It is.
I'm serious. So,
but it doesn't have to be that way.
You're absolutely right. It don't have to be that way. And then, people, have gotten into 2023. And for some people, it's like more of the same, right? Well, I ended with this debt, and I guess I just keep paying on it until it's time to do it all over again. The holidays come around, and it's just a cycle. But I'm here to encourage you to
break the cycle.
Break that cycle of always owing.
If you want to get ahead in life, it's time to break the cycle from the past.
Absolutely.
And move on into the future.
Absolutely. So listen, we recovered last week, right? We recovered from, Christmas. We recovered from Thanksgiving. Yeah, spending too much, charging too much on the credit card. Some of y'all, shall I say some of us, we vowed never to use those credit cards again. We vowed once we paid them off, we were done with them. And then it seemed like we fell back into that same old. But at some point, something got to change, right?
It has to change.
Absolutely. I refuse to spend the rest of my, life, in this point in my life, continuing paying debt, paying people all my money.
Making them richer.
Yeah. You know what I mean? They building their fancy homes and suites and everything, and laid out furniture and, for driving their expensive cars, all at the expense.
And then when you evaluate your life and your situation and your circumstance, you're yet still in the same situation.
Right. And they're doing all that at our expense. The interest that they charge us on these high interest credit cards, predatorial. That's the word trying to come out my mouth. Just then these predatorial lenders,
So now that we're recovering and we're paying down debt, what are we going to do now?
So now we're recovering and we're paying down debt. Here's what we need to do. And here's what I do. Now, let me just put a disclaimer out there. We don't have all the answers.
No, we don't.
We don't even try to act like we have all the answers. but we're just real people.
Hey, dealing with real issues.
Absolutely. We know somebody that have all the answers, and that's Christ Jesus.
Amen.
Right? So we ain't sitting up here. We ain't went to no college, universities, and we don't have no degrees. We don't have anything. We're just talking about self-experience, and we just sharing it with you. All right. So what I do, and what I have learned, Sharon, is that, and let me talk about this here first. Dave Ramsey has said, make your dollars. He said, make every dollar work for you.
That's right.
And I listen to a lot of his stuff. I have no affiliations with Dave Ramsey or his show or anything, but he put his content out there for us to use it. Yeah. And I find that a lot of stuff that he says, matter of fact, I agree with majority of his financial, mindset, how he, try to help Americans, everyday Americans like you and me.
That's right.
Because we are definitely everyday Americans. Would you say?
Yes.
We don't have $1 million. We're not rich. We're living. We're just now starting to live like no one else, so we can live like no one else later, and live and give like no one else later. A quote from Dave Ramsey. He said, "Make every dollar work for you." Right, and I think when he was talking about that particular part about make every dollar work for you, I think he was more focusing on, don't put all your money in savings accounts. Don't put all your money in your sock drawer or in your safes in your homes or whatever the case may be, but invest your money, into, some type of, mutual funds, some type of, retirement, savings, account that's going to draw back money, way better and faster than any savings account at your local bank can do. Right.
That's right.
But before you get there, there's another step, that I feel like you should do. And that's number one is get rid of your debt.
That's right.
Because we just came out of a busy season.
Yes.
Of, Christmas shopping,
and you had Thanksgiving.
Yes. And some of y'all just done too much, Every time we look around on your porch, you had your Halloween decorations, which we don't celebrate. You had your Halloween decorations on your porch in 1 week. Then the next week you had your fall stuff on your porch. Then the next time I look around, now you got your Christmas stuff. Then the next time I'm looking around, you're gonna have your New Year's stuff. And all that stuff you going to these stores, Hobby Lobby and Lobby and all these different places buying all these decorative stuff. All that money could have been going to making sure that your debt is paid off. We find, I think we find everything to do but pay off our debt.
You're right.
I'm serious. This is a very important step that gets you to all things wealth, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to get to all things wealth. We're trying to get to, financial stability. We're trying to get to financial freedom. We're trying to get to, not owing anybody anything. The Bible teaches us not to owe no man. Right.
That's
so
right.
The only way we're going to get there is we have to come to a reality that we have made some mistakes.
Yes.
And we have done some things that we need to clean up. Right. And
That's right.
Listen, Sharon, I ain't going to lie to you. The cleanup process is a painful process.
Yes, it is. But it's also discipline.
Oh man, yes.
You have to have that. If not, I guess my thing is like just breaking the cycle. Breaking it. And there's no excuse about it. When you know better, you do better.
That's right. When you know better, you do better. And listen, we have to be willing to suffer through some things to reign greater in our later life, right?
Yes, definitely. Especially with this day and time, it's so much resources out there that can help us, get ahead.
Absolutely. Pay down this debt, you know what I mean? And things like that. Listen, one thing that I like about, the plan that Dave Ramsey he puts up there is that debt snowballing, right? And well, there you have an argument that okay, debt snowballing is, he wants you to put $1,000 up, and as emergency funds, and then once you put $1,000 up as emergency funds, then you attack, your debt, before you do anything else. Those are the number one step. So if you put $1,000 up, put $2,000 up, I don't care personally what you put up, you just need to put something up very quickly, right?
That's
immediately.
Right.
And put that aside. So if
if anything happens, you'll have some money, some emergency money to fall back on to help you get out of that.
Absolutely.
That hole.
That life happen thing, But you know what I mean? I mean, some people ain't putting up anything. They ain't worrying about life happening, you know what I mean? Some people don't have nothing saved. They go years.
That's true.
Without putting up any kind of money, saving any kind of money. So what it is, and you spend on anything you want to spend on, and you ain't worrying about the life happens, right? So why not put up $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever? Like I said, we have no affiliation with Dave Ramsey and his show or nothing like that. So some things I might say might be different from him, but I just like, to give props to where props to do, because the man says good things. But my show is not no piggyback off his show or nothing like that. But you'll find me use a lot of, his sayings because I believe in them. You understand what I'm saying? I believe in what God have given him, and it works for my life because I have implemented it in my life.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, but anyways, if we would just take let me just go here. You know what I mean? If we would just let's do an overall assessment. Let's do the overall assessment of our life. Let's look at overall assessment of our life. All right. If we would just look at the overall picture, right, and look at what we're putting out, right, versus what got coming in.
That's right.
You find yourself being very adamant about who owe you money. If somebody owe you money, you know they owe you money. You keep up with how much money is supposed to be coming into you, right?
Yes.
We have no issue with that. I don't think any American has any problem with knowing how much money is owed out to them. If Boo Boo and Susie and all them owe you some money, you ain't forgot about them owing you some money, right?
That's right.
Exactly. So then we should have the same ambition, and we should have the same, drive in us when we putting out that money.
That's right.
We should know exactly where
it's
we're putting our money out to. And a lot of this stuff, folks, let's just be honest. If we don't ever get to the point that we don't get a pen and a piece of paper, write the vision and make it plain, then we're fooling ourselves. You could say you want $1 million all you want, but if you never put forth action, then are you really ever gonna get that $1 million unless you hit the lottery or something like that? But what's the odds of you hitting that? We all know that, right? So faith without works is what?
Dead.
Absolutely. So we have to put forth an effort. So in other words, Dave Ramsey, he pushed the debt snowball, right?
That's right.
And there's others out there that push this thing called the debt avalanche.
Okay.
So the difference in the two, from what I can gather, is the debt snowball is more of a psychological thing.
Okay.
Which means that you take your bills, your debt, right? And you take from the smallest to the greatest. And he wants you to take that smallest one and knock it out. Then the minimum that you paid on that debt, after you done knocked it out, the minimum that you would have been paying on that debt, you take that and look at your next smallest bill up the ladder, right? One step at a time, up the ladder. And then you take that minimum and the minimum that you're paying on that small debt, and you take them and you attack that debt with vengeance until you pay it off.
That's right.
Now you have a certain amount that you have been paying. Now you done paid that off. Now you're looking up the ladder again, and you got a higher debt. And then you take that money, that resource that you were using there, and you take it and you add it on to what the minimum is that you're paying on that next debt, and then you attack it with vengeance, and so on till you get to the top of the ladder, which is your final debt, which is your highest debt, your biggest debt. And then you take all those resources from step one all the way up to the top of the step, and then you attack it with vengeance, then you get out of debt. So that's how the debt snowballing method works. Pay off the smallest to the largest. And the reason I call it, I believe it's psychological, and others believe it's psychological, is because they believe that, when you get that small win, right, versus the avalanche, and I'll explain the avalanche in a minute here. When you get that small win, you feel good. You know what I mean? That you accomplished something.
Yes.
Right? And yes. I totally feel good, and I have done it. This is the one I use. And every time I pay off a debt, completely pay off a debt, and I don't have to deal with them folk anymore, man, I feel good about that thing. And it motivates me to go on to the next level.
To the next one, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I move on to the next level. And every time I win, it just recharges me, right? Because like you could be going, and sometimes you get inflated, and you kind of get tired of the same old, but you got to remember, each individual, we are responsible for the debt that we got ourselves in.
That's right.
So you move on to the next level, right? And then you attack that one, right? And it recharges you because you done paid off another one. You keep moving, so on and so on and so on. Now the debt avalanche, a lot of people support the debt avalanche is because the debt avalanche is where you take the one that has the highest interest rate.
You put it all into
one. No, well, yeah, you pay off that first, right? So yeah, whatever you got spare, you're right. Whatever you got spare, you put that all into paying off the one with the high interest rate. And then once you get that paid off, you kind of pay off a lot of that interest, and so you kind of save more. Versus, the debt snowball, you starting with the smallest, but you got the one with the high interest rate sitting at the top, and you're working your way up to it. But while you're working your way up to it, it's still, the interest is still building on it. But you're getting these small wins, and the chances are you succeeding seem to be a little more, promising, right? Versus the avalanche, when you're starting off with the highest interest rate, probably one of your biggest debts. And then it takes a while before you can start seeing any returns, any gains from it, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, might get weary in the process. Say, well, I'm studying paying all this money on this high interest and this large debt, but I don't see it going nowhere. Really, when in actuality, it really is disappearing, but you don't see the fruit from it immediately. So you kind of get inflated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So me personally, the debt snowball works for me. You know what I mean? I want to see them small wins, whatever the case may be. But however you do it, the number one thing right now at this point in 2023 is to pay off the debt. Let's see what Katrina got to say about it.
Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast with Let's Conversate with Josh and Sharon. They truly appreciate your support. Thank you for following them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, subscribing to their YouTube channel. If you would like to make a contribution towards the podcast to further its reach, please feel free to do so with Cashapp, $Letsconversate. Again, thank you for watching Let's Conversate with Josh and Sharon. Back to today's podcast.
And after coming out of, this recovery mode, and after coming out of, we're coming into the recovery mode. Let me say this right. And we're coming out of a spending mode. We just went through the last year of heavy spending,
right.
High gas prices, high interest loans, and,
food costs.
Oh man, yeah, food costs is definitely one of the ones that went up on us. So now we're sitting here at the beginning of the year. All the holidays are behind us. We got all these bills in our hands, and we're looking at this bill and this bill, and we're feeling like we're in the middle of the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that, that ground,
the ground.
That foundation. We can't feel the ground up on us no more. Now you get my pool analogy, and we don't have the ground up on us no more. So now we're reaching out for the walls and everything to hold ourselves up.
Can't swim
because we're tired of swimming. You know what I mean? Some of us, yeah, you're right. Some of us can't even swim. But we're tired of swimming and fighting, the water. And that's kind of how I feel when we're dealing with a lot of bills. I feel like we're fighting. And at some point, we got to grab a hold of something and hold on to something, right? So instead of trying to fight all the way around the block, right? Okay, so in other words, make every dollar work for you, before you can get to the investing part and how to invest and learning how to invest, you got to learn how to stop borrowing.
Yes.
Right? You got to learn how to stop living off of other people's money, right? You got to learn how to be okay with what you got, and take what you got and multiply it. Remember in the Bible, it was the man that gave out the talents. He gave 1 5, he gave 1 4, 3, and he gave it 1 to 1. Well, the ones that had 2, 3, 4, 5 talents, whatever case may be, they went and multiplied what they had. So in other words, they took what they had and they invested and they made something great out of it. But then the one that had the one, he felt like he had so little and he didn't want to risk what he had little, so he went and buried it, right? He didn't multiply it. So that's when you're dealing with the investing and everything. You can't be scared to invest into yourself, invest into your future. Your future self will thank you for it.
That's
and
right.
Appreciate it.
That's right.
But you can't do that until you get rid of the debt. You got to get the mindset. Somebody say mindset.
Mindset.
You got to get the mindset of not living off other people's money and being content and working with what you got. So yes, we have gotten ourselves into all this debt. Now it's time to face the reality. All the holidays and stuff are behind us. Now it's time to face the reality and come to a conclusion within our own hearts and minds that we're coming out of this.
That's right.
It's time to come out.
It's time to come out.
We are coming out of this debt, and we're not going to stay in this debt because We are meant to be lenders and not borrowers. Right. And the only way you can lend is you got to have something to lend. Right. And if you don't have nothing to lend, how could you lend? So, and me personally, Sharon, I don't want to be, necessarily a lender. I want to be the giver. I want to be able to give and not look back, because we got to be honest. In this America, when you lend something to somebody, you're looking for it back. You tend to, a lot of times, probably won't get it back, and then you probably lose your friendship because that person started avoiding you. And we know how that goes. So, we want to be the best givers that we could be. God blesses a cheerful giver, right?
That's right.
Man, come on, man. Talk about it with me. So listen, when we come back, we're gonna get these what we gonna do next?
Don't forget the pray moment.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's get this don't forget the pray moment, and we'll be back on the other side of this thing, you guys. Hey, it's another segment that we added to the show. It's your don't forget to pray moment. We got Sharon over here. Tell them why they don't need to forget to pray.
Yes, today Don't Forget to Pray moment is brought to you by Handy Solutions Home Repair Services here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You can contact him at 423-802-4431. Also, I want to leave with you today something that I found on the website. According to God's word, there are 4 fundamental purposes for money: to provide for basic needs, to confirm direction, to give to those in need, and to illustrate God's power and care and provision. Understanding these purposes allows you to see how money relates to God's word in your life and in your community. Again, today's Don't Forget to Pray moment is brought to you by Handy Solutions. Now back to today's podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for that don't forget to pray moment, Sharon, because we don't need to forget to pray.
That's right.
Listen, living in this day and time with all this inflation and everything that's going on in this world, we need to pray.
Hey.
Right? Bills are mounting up. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that was a good.
Prayer changes things.
Prayer does change things, everybody. So listen, back to what the topic at hand is, focusing on paying down this debt. Right. So we are in the recovery month.
That's right.
And this month is also known, Sharon, as what?
No spending.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the no spending month. All right. Because, this is just something that, God have given us, but we are not spending anything. This is a no spending month. Nothing but the reoccurring bills is all we're going to be spending, right? We're staying out of the what? All the stores.
The stores, the online shopping.
What else? Eating
out.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on this year, even, taking my lunch even more.
Oh, man, that'd be a good idea, Sharon. Yes, that'd be
that's something,
goodness.
Yes,
my
that's definitely something that I'm working on.
Yes, my goodness. Stay out them stores and bring your own lunch. Some folk don't want to bring no lunch.
What to say, and fixing everybody else's food.
Yeah, fixing everybody else's lunch, but then you at Chick-fil-A every day. And listen, but people don't understand though, and people need to realize this. That's a good point. Those little small buys that you think don't hurt anything, them are the ones that really hurt.
That's true.
That little $5 a day, $6 a day,
or $20 a day,
the dollar menu a day, at the end of the year, added up.
Yeah,
man, you could have been paid off 2-3 debts completely with all the money you spend eating out, and it's cheaper to eat at home.
That's true.
You got all that Tupperware you've been buying all through the years.
That's right.
Some people don't know that word Tupperware. Tupperware is an old school word.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my grandma used to do, the little Tupperware parties they used to have back in the day. They don't do that no more. I guess, Walmart done moved in and took over all the Tupperware. They got a whole Tupperware house. So ain't nobody doing no Tupperware parties anymore. But anyways, you got all that stuff in your cabinets and stuff, and you talk about how you're going to do it and how you're going to, start packing lunches and have meals through the week. Then do it. This is what time is better than now? January 2023. let's just challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
The rest of this year, let's challenge ourselves to do things watch how I say this. Let's challenge ourselves to do things that's beneficial, but yet challenging, that we did not do last year that we wish we had of.
Yeah.
I can't repeat that. So if y'all want to hear it again, just rewind that and you'll get it, I promise. So let's just, let's focus on doing the uncomfortable things that's going to lead us to success in 2023.
That's right.
And the only place you can start, folks, is to get rid of all this debt. And one of the worstest debts, and we'll do a whole show about it again. We've done one in the past, and we're going to do a whole show about it again, is these auto loans.
Yes.
And cars are ridiculous high. And the money that you're paying on the interest and you're paying on that car, if you realize that when you leave that lot with that car after about 3 months or so, that car has lost at least 60 to 70% of its value, meaning that it's no longer worth what you walked off the lot paying for it.
That is so true.
And we don't have car payments anymore. We actually paid off our vehicles last year. Last year we finished paying off our vehicles?
That's correct.
We paid off our vehicles last year, so we don't have car payments, and we don't have brand new cars either. No, we don't. My wife drives a 2012, and I'm driving her 2017. But our cars are old and they got miles on them, but they're paid for. And I guarantee you, those older vehicles that we have can do the same thing your 2021 and 2022, 2023 brand new vehicles can do that you're paying all this interest on that you might never get to pay. It take you 84 months almost, to pay off these vehicles. And by the time you pay all that interest on that vehicle, you could have got yourself out of debt. Imagine the 84 months that you spend, right? Paying for a vehicle. If you would have gotten a cash car, right? That within that 84 months, you'd have been out of debt, saved up a 3 to 6 months emergency fund, and probably investing in your kids or your nephews and nieces' college funds. Let's do these shout outs and get them out the way. Yeah. Absolutely. So be right back. All right, it's time for these shout outs once again. Listen, if you're in the Orlando area, New Chief Cornerstone, they are located at 820 South Park Avenue, Winter Garden, Florida, under the leadership of Dr. Clarita M. James and Pastor Norman James. If you're in that Orlando area and you need a church to attend, stop in. Tell them Josh and Sharon sent you. Also, Christ the Redeemer Ministry, 4721 East Moody Boulevard, Palm Coast, Florida, under the leadership of Apostle Robert and Betty Davenport. Listen, stop in. If you're in the Palm Coast area, see Pastor Davenport. Listen, if you want to church here in Tennessee, the Church of Churches, yes, that is none other than New Hope Church of God in Christ, 303 South University Street, under the leadership of Pastor Anthony and Lady Graham. This is a church of churches where you can clap your hands, stomp your feet. Come on to New Hope. Yes, New Hope. Also, we want to just thank everybody that supports us, that always show love to this podcast. We thank you wherever you are. It means the world to us. So keep liking, subscribing, and sharing. All right. So dealing with the whole situation about the auto thing, I think that is something that we really got to dedicate another show to for the people, because I think it's very important that if people really get the understanding that you don't have to have what the Joneses have.
No,
you don't. We don't have to have every brand new car, every brand new cellular device that come out. Y'all really just be honest. If you notice, like when these new cell phones and stuff come out, most thing they promote is the cameras, right, on the phone, because pretty much there's no difference in the phone.
That's right.
From one phone to the next phone. And it seems like every new phone come out, we have to have it, but we yet in debt. And then also, if I leave you with this here, watch the people that do have money. we find ourselves listening to a lot of people, you know, that either don't have no money or they don't have no desire to make life better for themselves. I ain't talking about the people that just talk about having things. I'm talking about people that's actually exercising. Excuse me. You know, I'm on my tongue. But the people that's actually practicing, you know, the necessary habits to make life situations better than it is now. So later on, it'll be in a more stronger position. In other words, we need to understand that we don't have to have what everybody else have to feel relevant in our own lives, to our own selves. People don't have to see you ride around in the 2023.
No.
They don't have to see you ride around in the 2022. They don't have to see that, because when you get to that traffic light, I don't use this analogy before, when you get to that traffic light, somebody might look over there and say, oh, that's a nice car. But by the time that light turns green and you go from the line you parked at across the intersection to the other line, they are attracted to something else. They're no longer looking at your car. It was just a brief second. So you spend all your life paying off that debt to impress people that don't really care about what you got anyway. And that's including the people that know you.
That's right.
And you do it to make yourself happy. But honestly, when them payments and stuff start coming in and other things start happening and your money is not long enough and you don't have enough money saved up, you don't have emergency fund saved up, are you really happy?
Yeah.
You know, ask yourself
when
an
that
honest
money
question.
looking funny.
Right. So we're going to come back and we're going to target that thing about, you know, about the autos, because we're dealing with, you know, all things wealth. You know, it's about the bigger picture, so we can come out of owing people money and we can have more of our own money. Right.
That's right.
So listen, everybody, pay off your debt. Don't focus on anything else. We're in recovery. We're healing our wounds right now.
Oh, yeah.
You're wounded. You know, you're wounded. So now it's time to heal the wounds. You know, let's not start journeying off again and we have not healed the wounds. Let's stop putting Band-Aids on there, because we all know what happened with Band-Aids. When they get wet,
they fall off.
They fall off. So listen, you guys, we hope that something done been said that was encouraging to you. But unfortunately, like all good things, we gotta go.
That's right, we gotta go.
I was gonna say, you know, all things come to an end, but this ain't coming to an end. We're just going to a pause. Somebody say pause.
Pause.
We're going to a pause, but we will be back again, dealing with all things wealth, you know, in this recovery month, the month of January. Remember, if you're spending, you're not recovering.
That's right.
If you're spending, you're not recovering. January is a chill month. Stay off Amazon. Stay off eBay. Stay off, what's that one you like? That way.
Fashion Nova, Shein.
What's that one we go on all the time when we order stuff almost like Amazon? I can't think of the name of it. It's Wayfair, ain't it?
Yeah, Wayfair.
Yeah, stay off Wayfair. Stay off all affairs until you take care of your affair, which is your debt. You know what I mean? Hey, you guys, it's been fun. I hate to go, but I don't want to hold you too long and bore you, because I want you to come back. So with that being said, tell somebody. When Josh and Sharon is on.
That's right.
So we're just real people.
Hey, dealing with real issues.
Until next time.
Bye.
Deuces.